I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag.
What's up? What's up? You are now listening to FYI FLI, the podcast, and I'm your host, Hassan Thomas, along with Remy, and we are here to share tools on how millennials can budget, save, invest, and understand student debt and credit to achieve financial freedom. If you're a high school student, college student, or someone who's interested in gaining more financial insight, this podcast is for you.
I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna.
What's up, my fly folks out there? How y'all doing? I hope y'all doing all right. Welcome to the FYI FLI podcast. My name is Hassan Thomas, aka the kid that did and the man that can, baby. And today we are chopping it up with Miss Melissa Leong, who is a world-renowned speaker, media personality, and the best-selling author of the Happy Go Money book. And not to mention, she's been featured on the Drew Barrymore show? Okay, while being a part of Canada's #1 talk show, The Social, which is kind of like The Talk or The Real with Lonnie Love in them, right?
That's right, it is.
Okay, so let's start there. How was that experience of being the money expert on the #1 show in Canada? And also, touch on the perspective. I want to get a little bit of your perspective on, making a fixed salary or a set salary compared to being an entrepreneur who goes out and, hunts and eats what they kill, basically, and who only gets paid when business is handled. So compare those two. And, is there any different type of money management tools or resources when it compares to those two?
So I have been the personal finance expert on CTV's The Social for 9 years. I have the honor of talking about, as you know, a pretty tough topic to get people engaged in. But I have, it's a gift because I'm able to reach people through that television show in the dentist chair, at the salon, when they're at home, and they're least expecting some financial savvy coming their way. Yeah. So, I've had such a great time, and it's a privilege to be able to be, sharing my voice in any capacity. As you appreciate, you have this platform, definitely. And that is a responsibility that you need to take seriously. So that's fantastic. 100%. And so, yes, as you said, I do work for myself. And before that, I was a personal finance reporter for the Financial Post, which is a national newspaper in Canada. And I had the regular 9 to 5 salary. Well, 9 to 5. When you work in a newspaper, you don't work 9 to 5. You work all day, all night. But my dad, yes, but my dad was really, he's old school. So he drilled into me, Melissa, you need to have a stable, safe job, put in your hours. Hopefully you'll get a pension and you'll retire after staying at that job for 50 years. And I thought, holy
we know shit. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah, no, Dad, there's no way that I'm going to be working in a newspaper. The newspapers may not exist after 50 years. And so I branched out on my own. And the thing that I was just blown away by was I worked so hard as a reporter. I put everything into it. And there was a ceiling to how much I could make. But when you work for yourself, there really is no limit to how much money you can make, because as you said, you eat what you kill. And if you put more time into it and more resources, sometimes you are rewarded. And so that requires a little bit more organization on my part. When the money comes in, it's yes, there are automatic deductions, but there are also, I need to put some of this aside for taxes. I need to put some of this aside for future savings and my retirement, because no one's supporting me but me. And
it's not employee sponsored. It's personal sponsored. You got to do it.
Melissa Leong sponsored. And, that just requires a little bit more strategy. But it's wonderful. You row your own boat. It's exciting.
I love that. So I normally like to ask this next question at the end of the show, But since you are the author of Happy Go Money, we're going to do things a little bit different, okay?
Okay, bring it on. I'm ready.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So I would normally ask them. I would normally ask my guests, out of these two quotes, which one is more accurate in your opinion?
Oh,
more
okay.
money, more problems,
Uh-huh.
or money can't buy happiness?
I did write a book about this.
But for you, we're gonna stick with the money can't buy happiness. So can you explain the connection between happiness and money, and also tell us a little bit about your book and give us like one of the biggest takeaways in there?
Money can't buy
Money
happiness.
can't buy happiness. Mm-hmm.
I actually think that is not accurate.
Okay, talk to us. Talk to us.
Okay. Well, you need a roof over your head. You need to eat indoors. You need to be able to have a life where you're not worried about your student debts or like debt collectors chasing after you, right?
Most
you need
definitely.
to have a stable base for you to reach some form of self-actualization. How are you going to have choices in your life? How are you going to be the person that you want to be if you don't have some kind of handle on your finances?
Exactly.
And I mean, there's
Most
lots
definitely.
of research that says, okay, here's the magic number. Everyone wants to know, okay, how much exactly do I have to make? I'm going to make that amount and I'm done.
That
But
FI number, that
yes,
financial independence number.
I'll give you a couple of numbers because it's when it's based on research, different researchers, use different benchmarks. So if we're talking about day-to-day happiness, like Hassan, how do you feel like right now talking to me, hopefully super happy. Day-to-day happiness is about like 60 to 75 grand US per single family household pre-tax. If we're talking about life satisfaction, like judging your life and thinking, yeah, my life's pretty good, that number, according to research, is about $90,000. Once you go over those numbers, again, like that thing I just mentioned, the decrease in happiness, and you're thinking, why would I be less happy if I had more money? But more money, more problems just also means that you might have more stress. You might be working at a job that requires more hours. You are taking on more responsibility. Maybe you're commuting more. Maybe you are spending more money competing with the Joneses and trying to keep up appearances, and you're more materialistic now. And finally, you're probably using more of your time and your headspace on things that, according to research, make you less happy, like spending less time with your family, having less time for, yourself.
Gotta have that balance.
Fun and enjoyment of life. It's not always
100%.
about money.
100%. You gotta have. I think that's one of the biggest things that I like to tell people is you gotta have that balance. Like, and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, using money as a tool. Like, use money as a tool to do the things that you want to do in life that makes you happy. So can you definitely speak to us about what are some of the benefits and opportunities that being financially free or financially literate can create for a person? Like, I know everyone wants the big money for the big house and the big car and a nice car.
Do they?
But
Do you, Hassan? Is that what you want?
I want money for those opportunities and for the experiences, but a lot of people do want money for the big house and the big car. I want those things, yes. Most definitely. But that's not the only reason that I want the money. But I definitely want to get your opinion on, what are some of those benefits or some of those opportunities that being FinLit, as we like to call it, creates for a person.
Okay, two things I want to say before I go into it. The first is, which you said something about balance. And I think that especially as a woman, especially as a mom, I think we are all searching for that balance, but I think that's a fallacy. I think society tells you that you need to have a balance by having it all. You can work super hard, but you can also vacation and you can also have time off to take care of your kids. And that's a lot. We have a lot on our plate. And I think that so-called balance, such as and that so-called happiness, it's not a destination. You kind of, every day you try to figure out, a balance, a peace of mind, whatever it is. And so some days you'll spend more on things that you don't that don't serve your final goals. And some days you'll be more, you'll be hustling, and some days you will take a bit of a break. That's all fine. I don't think that matters. I think what matters is that you make sure that you give meaning to your work and to your
finding
spending.
That purpose.
Yeah. If you are, just putting blood, sweat, and tears into your business, please think about what you're doing it for. If you are trying to save your butt off and making all these sacrifices now, or you're trying to get a raise, what is that money for? To take some time and think about, what the end result is. And you might realize that you think, well, I don't really need all that stuff. I'm just trying to be a little bit more, I'm trying to create opportunities for myself in the sense of, I need a certain amount of money in the bank in case life happens. You need to have money set aside in case life happens. You need to have money set aside for future you, to have opportunities, to have choices. And that really is what, being financially empowered, I'm doing air quotes on your podcast for people who can't see, or being financially literate is all about. Just understanding that you are trying to give yourself choices, more choices,
most definitely,
in the future.
Yo, are you ready to hit your next level? Do you want to increase your drive, destiny, and dollars? Well, if so, check out my new book, From College to COVID, 24 Lessons Learned During the Lockdown, where I've compiled 5 of the biggest lessons I learned going from college to COVID to starting my financial literacy empire, FYI FLI, plus 19 lessons from your favorite entrepreneurs, entertainers, and athletes that have been featured on our show. There's literally something for everyone. So purchase your copy today at FYIFly.com/From College to COVID. Let's go. So do you have like a personal story, or maybe a personal story of a friend? You don't have to mention their name or anything.
I have a friend, but I really mean me. You mean like one of those stories?
Yeah, one of them, where you wish you would have saved more, or you wish you had an emergency fund. Like, speak to the importance of having that emergency fund that you were, definitely alluding to.
When I met my boyfriend, now husband, he was the happiest man in the country. Like, he was the guy who would dance at the elevator waiting for the elevator to come. He would just buy coffee for the people behind him just randomly to see them smile. And I thought, you happy man, let's get married. This is going to be great. We're going to play practical jokes on each other. We're going to sing show tunes. It's going to be great. But actually, 3 months after we were married, my husband became extremely ill. He was terrorized by anxiety and depression and suicidal ideation, and it happened very suddenly. And he became a different person very quickly, just somebody who was struggling. And I wanted to be happy for him, which is why I wrote the book. And what I realized, the most important takeaway, which is to answer a question I didn't answer previously, the most important takeaway from that lesson, and that I include in my book, is that we're really bad, actually, at imagining what our life could be like if that hypothesis is negative. We don't like to think of scary things happening to us. We can't imagine the bad things that are coming around the corner. But the truth is, you never know. And so 100%. My husband and I got married with the goal of trying not to be too in debt. So we didn't have, the dream wedding. We had a beautiful wedding. We skipped the honeymoon to save money. We paid off the wedding with as much cash as possible. We purposely bought a house, our first house together, in the boonies. It was like a townhouse. It was so slim. The rooms were triangular. Like, who builds triangular rooms? You can't put a bed in a triangular room. But that was the house we could afford on one income. We did the math, and I wanted opportunities for myself, which was, hey, if I have children, if we have a family, then one of us can stay home and we could survive off of that one income. So this is me thinking ahead and trying to plan. Yeah. I was trying to plan for a family. I wasn't trying to plan for my husband being unwell. And so when he was, because he's self-employed, we didn't worry about not being able to pay the mortgage. We didn't worry about not being able to pay regular bills because I had set us up with disability insurance. We weren't super stressed because of debt. I think we underestimate how stressful debt is when you hit a storm. You're traveling in a boat with holes in it. So all of those things, all of the savings that we put aside, that we didn't spend on our big party, that went to treatment. You know, you never know. And I have lots of friends who started out thinking life would go a certain way and they saved a bunch of money for this, but they ended up using it on IVF, like on fertility treatments, for example. You just, you never know. And so putting aside money in a highly accessible place, cash, maybe in a high yield savings account or somewhere that you can, I'm not saying in your under your mattress, but you know, somewhere where you can access it. I think we obsess about, oh, should it be 3 months? Should it be 6 months? Should it be 9 months? How, you know, personal finance is personal. So it really depends on your own situation in terms of how much you need to save. But the key is to put something away and to pay down debt. Those two 100%. Things will help you in a storm.
100%. Because debt, you know, I'm definitely glad you touched on debt, because debt is what literally robs us of our wealth. You know, every time, you know, we always say, pay yourself first, pay yourself first. How can you pay yourself first if you're having to pay creditors and having to pay, you know, credit card debt, student loan debt, all those other, you know, debts that are robbing you of your wealth? So it's kind of hard to pay yourself first when you got to pay other people first. So I definitely agree with you on that. But I want to touch on, because I know when it comes to finance, I really think the biggest issue for anyone of any color, any race, any age is spending. So especially like with, you know, the outside, you know, especially with outside opening back up, hopefully, you know, with this COVID and all these different variants and all that, you know, can you give us some tips on how to control our spending while still living our best life?
Oh my goodness. That is the question, isn't it?
Oh yeah. That's why I got to ask you. I got the money expert. Got to ask.
I think when you are overwhelmed with money, when you are stressed about it, it is a natural reaction to just close your eyes and sort of stick your fingers in your ears, and you're going, la, 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 I don't want to know. But
I like it's not there.
Yes, but I promise clarity brings comfort. And so if you are finding that maybe you're out of control, maybe you're spending too much, you don't really know, you know, just take a look. Take a look. Download your bank statements over the last 3 months. You know, open up the your bank app and just go through your spending and categorize it. I actually still do mine with a paper and a pen. You know, I don't use a fancy app or anything like that. I just want to see what. Yeah, I want to see how much money is coming in and then where my money is going. Then I can look and see where my spending is, like where the holes are, where I'm leaking money, where I'm, you know, I signed up for a free trial of something and forgot to delete it. And so now I'm being charged on my credit card for this subscription that I forgot about. You know, these are the types of things that you want to catch. Oh my goodness. I forgot that I had like an audio subscription to audiobooks.
Me too.
I just missed it. And then I looked the other week and I thought, what is this? Oh, dang. I'm not listening. I'm just paying for just nothing. Anyways.
And you know, Audible will be getting you with the annual subscription. They'll take about $109 out. You're like, wait, where the $109?
If I had known, I would be listening to Money Smart Books right now, and maybe this wouldn't have happened. But with spending, once you sort of have an idea of you know, a bigger picture of what's going on, then you can make changes. You have to know yourself. You have to ask yourself, what are the last 3 unplanned purchases that I made? And why did I make them? Because most of the time we are creatures of habit, and we're also emotional. And a lot of money is driven by our relationship with it and how we feel. And so a lot of us spend to alleviate pain. You know, we buy it out of boredom. We buy it out of habit. We buy it to alleviate some kind of stress, or we reward ourselves for a hard day of work, or you're lazy and you end up ordering food in the house, and or you are buying it for a sense of self-worth. You know, you think, I have a job interview. I need to buy this jacket. It's going to make me look really professional.
Yeah.
And, or if I don't pay for this, then I'm going to be missing out, or my friends are going to be closer because they're going to have this bonding experience without me. Whatever it is that you tell yourself, you kind of get a sense of what your own traps are. And then you got to put into some kind of outsmart yourself. You put into place a plan. So have an automatic deduction of money that goes to your goals, the things that that you think are important. So the money is not there for you to spend because you've taken care of your priorities first. That's number one. Next is if you need help, I would set some midterm, short-term, long-term goals and then get a friend involved, because studies show that when you are doing it with peer support, you actually save more money. So I have a group on WhatsApp that I check in with every Sunday about whatever. We have weekly goals. We check in. You don't have to tell your friend how much money you made. You just have to say, I have a money goal. Please make sure that I stuck to it.
Accountability.
On Sunday. That's right. You need an accountability structure in order to affect change. You know what I mean? And so
Most definitely.
I think the last thing I would say is, if you know that you buy from a place of stress or to alleviate pain, then one thing to try to spend more of your time on is to deal with that stress in the first place. You know, I can hand you a budget, but if you're buying emotionally, then maybe you should deal with some of the stuff that gets you to that place of weaker willpower, or, you know, a present bias where you're only thinking about here versus now, which all happens with stress, right? So, you know, maybe if after work, sometimes you walk by the stores and you happen to go in because you're bored or you're stressed or whatever it is, maybe instead schedule a walk with a friend or go to the gym right after work. So you're dealing with that mental,
so what we call on my upcoming money management app, FYI FLI, is a peace of mind fund. We don't like to call it an emergency fund because that brings negative connotations and negative vibes. We rather call it a peace of mind fund, because knowing that you have that money to fall back on creates that peace of mind. So in your opinion, what will be the first initial step to building a positive financial future?
What's up? Oh, y'all haven't heard? FYI FLI just released their new website. Check out the link in the show notes and help us test out our site. Please check our free features, educational resources, and our blog that we update daily. We look forward to hearing from y'all. Now let's dive in.
That's a great question. I like that you use the word positive. I think taking some time, even right now, and thinking about what your relationship with money is based on how you grew up. So how did your family handle money? How did they talk about money? How do your parents still talk about money to you? And what are you most stressed about? You know, what bugs you about money, what other people do? Does it really tick you off if people are cheap? Or are you just really stressed about it because you feel like you never have enough? Taking some time to understand how you feel about money can help you be more engaged in money with a new set of eyes. I think we don't realize how negative we are about money. And so if you are saying things like, I'm broke, I'm so broke, you don't actually have to say that. That may not even be true. You could just say, if your friend says, hey, do you want to go for dinner? And you say, no, man, I'm broke. Why don't you just say, no, I'm trying to pay down my debt. That's so much more empowering. And that is a more positive relationship with money. It's a work in progress. You are a work in progress. And money is not 100%. Evil. It's just a tool. And you're doing your best. And money management advice, traditional personal finance, rules of thumb, they don't take into account whether you are BIPOC, whether you are female, and there's a gender pay, a wage gap or a caregiver penalty when you take time off. They don't take into account what your personal experiences were, if you had to pay for school and what struggles you've had. And so don't beat yourself up over where you are when it comes to your money. You don't need to try to, okay, I need to save a bunch of money right now and just make sure that my FinLit is, I'm 100% on every test. That will be a more positive experience for me. Really, it's just stop beating yourself up. That's an important first step. We're going to try our best. And, Hassan's in your corner. He's going to help you on your journey.
Thanks.
It's going to be fine.
Most definitely. I'm gonna help you make a plan and make a play. That's what I love to say. But I want to touch on, because I heard it's a lot of emotions, when it comes to money. Money is a tool, as we say, but it is a lot of preset emotions. And as you said, it's come from, the way we've looked at it as we were being raised in our childhoods, what our parents were feeding to us. And, especially in the minority communities, we oftentimes feel that we have to struggle or we have to go through hard times just to be real or be authentic. You know what I mean? So I was watching one of your clips and I saw that you said you have to claim your wealth. And I love that quote that you said. So can you really elaborate on claiming your wealth and why that is so important?
There is money out there, and you deserve to have access to it. You deserve to be able to build your own pool of money for your life, the life that you truly want for yourself and for future generations. And I'm not talking about getting rich. When we talk about claiming your wealth or building your wealth, anybody can claim their wealth. Anyone can build wealth. You're just increasing your net worth, which can be from negative to less negative, or 0 to $5. That is building wealth, right? I think people think about, I'm going to be wealthy, I'm going to be rich. But if you earn $1 million and you spend $1 million, then you're no longer a millionaire anymore, are you? So rich is
not about how much you make.
That's right. Rich is not, wealth is what you don't see, basically. And I think that sometimes we think of wealth as we think of building wealth as this sort of like, this is a personal goal of mine. I'm going to do this. It's going to have meaning for me because I'm going to buy X. I'm going to get that house. I'm going to this. But for me, being a woman of color, building wealth is almost a form of social justice. It means that I am doing what I can to claim what is rightfully mine and what I deserve, even though the world, even though society says that actually you deserve less than your male colleague, right? Which what I've experienced many times over my career and trying to get raises or trying to get
you have to talk about experience of that. You're gonna have to talk about. Was it in journalism?
You know what? It's in journalism. It's in every field, in every industry, and every single time you ask for money or you negotiate for something, that will come up based on your gender, the color of your skin, based on so many things, right? And so when I say claiming your wealth is not just for you, the simple act of doing so can have incredible repercussions. You're claiming your wealth for you, but also you're showing the world what you want to see. You are building generational wealth by making yourself more stable. And I think people who are privileged don't appreciate the tremendous gift generational wealth gives you when you are trying to build your life for your family. And so I don't take the sacrifices that my family members have made lightly. And I think that I can also do my part to, be the change I want to see in the world.
I love that. And I have one more question for you. Just listening to, what you were saying really, really sparked a thought in my head, a question in my head. how do we, once we have acquired the generational wealth and the financial freedom for ourselves, and now it's time to give it back to our kids and give it to our grandkids, how can we give it to them but still make them appreciate? Because I heard how you said those people that are just headed to it, don't appreciate it as much. So once we get it for ourselves, how do we make sure that our kids and our grandkids don't fall in that, silver spoon trap?
I was hosting a radio show, and this came up because there were some celebrities who said, some very wealthy, rich, I'll say, celebrities who said, I'm not leaving my kids anything. And I thought, oh man, you probably never hear an immigrant family say that. I want my kids to be broke. They're not going to get anything from me when I pass away. Yeah. I actually don't think that leaving your kids money or giving your children things makes them spoiled. I think what makes them spoiled is the lessons that you teach them through your own behavior. How are you setting an example through your own life? Are you living a life of excess and not being grateful for things? That's not about not gifting your kids money. That's just kind of poor parenting, I think, or just not being
better parents.
I shouldn't say that, because being a parent honestly is so hard, and there's no such thing as being a perfect parent. You try your best, and your kids probably still are mad at you and blame you for everything later. But it's I would say that there are ways to give gifts, and a lot of parents do that now, especially with the cost of living being what it is and the cost of housing. A huge percentage of people buying houses right now in the metropolitan city that I live in is because they're able to do that through gifts. They're able to do that because there's this huge, the population is aging, and they are now handing their wealth down. And a lot of young people are only able to afford a house because their parents are helping them. And I don't think that all of those children are going to be spoiled buttheads. I think, I think they may have seen their parents work extremely hard and seen their sacrifice and been a part of that sacrifice, and seen them also support their community and give to charity, and have also been a part of that philanthropy. My philanthropy was a huge part of my great grandfather and my grandfather's legacy, and I will always think that it's important to give back. And
most definitely,
I wouldn't obsess so much about about not wanting to help your kids. I think that there are many ways to give them money without so-called spoiling them.
Turning them into spoiled buttheads.
Yeah.
I like that. But I definitely appreciate, you coming on the show and joining us on the FYI FLI podcast. Please is there any final words that you want to leave the listeners with? And please let everyone know where to find you, how they can connect with you, and how they can order your book, Happy Go Money.
Yes, Happy Go Money is available anywhere where you can buy books. And if you need to reach out to me, I'm always happy to connect people. I'm most accessible on Instagram with the handle LISLEONG, or you can just find me at melissaleong.com. And the last thing I would say is it's been a really strange 2 years. It's there's been no shortage of stress and tumultuousness, and all of those things breed changes in our behavior. And so if you have been having a hard time with money, if you've had to do things during the pandemic in order to survive, I would just say that you need to be a little bit more kind. We all need to be more kind to ourselves, and just start again tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day. We're going to set new goals, and we can all do it together.
I love that. Thank you so much again for joining the show, for dropping the gems, dropping the lessons. I love it. Thank you all, and we'll see you again. Thank y'all for dropping in with us. I need y'all to stay safe, stay invested, and stay fly. We'll see y'all next week.
Thank you all for listening to FYI FLI, the podcast, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Tune in next week for more financial literacy insights with our special guest. Please visit our website, social media platforms, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at FYI FLI Podcast. That's FYI FLI Podcast. See y'all next week and stay fly.